So here we are doing the chapter spectrum. Guys, in this one, so this is the chapter number 6 from your textbook. Now, there are 3 parts in this chapter. In the part A, there is very simple application. You read it once and you'll understand. You won't have any confusion. In the part B, it's more of mugging up only. So you have to learn about what are the different types of radiation and what will be the there you have to learn about their properties, their methods of detection, their applications, all those. And in the C part, again, there is just one concept, that is scattering of light, which too is a simple concept, and then there are some 6-7 give reasons on those. And there is only one type of a numerical in this chapter. So there are 3 or 4 sums in your book, but all of them are based on the same formula, same concept. So we'll start with the A part right now. Guys, see, before we start with the A part, I'll just do some little basic things which you've already done in the 8th standard and 9th standard, but we'll need it for this chapter. So see, first thing, as we know that the white color light, or like the white color light or the sunlight that we get, is basically made up of 7 colors, and those 7 colors are Vibgyor. Okay. So popular these colors are that there are also schools now, they are named Vibgyor now. Okay, what does this Vibgyor stands for? So it's violet, indigo, blue, green, yellow, orange, red. So these are the 7 colors. Now, when I've written these colors Vibgyor, so the wavelength keeps on increasing in this order, meaning it will go from small to high. So the wavelength of violet color is 4000 angstrom. If you remember in the 9th standard first chapter, you had this unit angstrom. And the wavelength of the red color is 8000 angstrom. It's easier to remember why, because red is double of violet. That's why. Then now if wavelength is increasing from violet to red, remember the frequency will be decreasing. Why? Because frequency and wavelength are inversely proportional. So we will not learn the values of frequency, but you need to know the values of this wavelength. So who's got the maximum frequency? It will be violet color, because violet has got the least wavelength, so it will have the maximum frequency. Okay, now next concept about the speed. So in air, remember, in air all the colors travel at same speed. In air all colors travel with same speed. Okay, but in other medium, like for example in glass you will find that red color travels the fastest. So red color travels the fastest in glass. Okay, and obviously slowest is what? Violet color. So violet color will be the slowest in the glass. Now what's the speed of light in air or in vacuum? 3 into 10 raised to 8. So in air or in vacuum all the colors travel with this speed only, but in glass it will vary for all of them. So all of them will have a different speed. Now when we say that white light is made up of 7 different colors, so basically why do they have a different colors? The reason is because they are of a different wavelength. Got it? So remember that color is the subjective property. Color is the subjective property of wavelength, meaning wavelength is objective whereas color is subjective. As we discussed in the sound chapter also, what is subjective and objective. So for example, if I tell you all that you all wear a red color top for the next class and come, so what happened, you all will be wearing a red color top only, but there could be different shades of red color. But if I tell all of you that you all wear a red color of 8000 angstrom exactly and come to the class, you know what happened then? When we all when we all stand together for a group picture, it will be difficult to count the number of people other than the heads. because all the colors will get they will get camouflaged. So if let's say there is a curtain behind of 8000 angstrom red color and you are wearing a clothes of the same color, and if you stand in front of that curtain and if somebody takes your picture, it will be difficult to make out your body. You can only see your face clearly in that case. So this is again very important property, that color is the subjective property of wavelength. Now other things you need to know is there are few conversions which you need to know now. So first we need to know that 1 angstrom is actually how much? 10 raised to minus 10 meter. 1 nanometer, this is called as a nanometer, is 10 raised to minus 9 meter. And 1 nanometer is equal to what? 10 angstrom. What? So these are the different, you need to know all these conversions for the numericals also. What? Now, so out here, okay, one more thing is about the unit of frequency. So I hope you'll remember the unit of frequency is what? Hertz. But 1 megahertz is equal to how much? 10 raised to 6 hertz. So mega is 10 raised to 6. So a mega is 10 raised to 6 hertz. Got it? Okay. Now, guys, actually, some of you have not done the chapter number 1 in this chapter, right? But if you have, we don't need exactly, but if you know a little bit basic about it, it will help you. Even if you don't know, it's okay, you'll be able to manage this chapter. Okay. Now, okay, just one sec. Okay, fine then. So guys, now we'll start with the Newton's experiment now. So see, first we have to learn about what do you mean by dispersion of light. So see, for that I'll tell you, this is one experiment which you've done in the 8th standard also. It was there in your textbook in the 8th standard light chapter, I think. So see, let's say out here you have a prism, a glass prism. I hope you all know what a glass prism is. This is just a cross-sectional view or a two-dimensional view. So this is what actually a glass prism is. So we have drawn the same thing, that's a glass prism. Now, through this glass prism, we are passing white color light. So say, let white light pass through it out here, from here. So we are letting the white color light pass through it. Now, when the light is passing from air to glass, right? Right now it is going from air into what? Glass. So how will this light go? It will go rarer to denser. So it will bend. If you don't remember, rarer to denser, it will bend. So it is bending towards the normal. Now, when it is going further from denser to rarer, now how will the light ray go? It will bend further also. So again, denser to rarer, it will bend like this. Got it? So this is called as what? This is the screen where the image will be formed. Now white light is basically made up of how many colors? As you already learned, 7 colors. So those are what? Vibgyor. Now when all these colors of light, when they were traveling in air, they are all traveling at the same speed. That's why they all merge together and form white color. But when this color enters the glass, as I told you, they do not travel with the same speed. So the moment they enter the glass, they all travel with different speeds. And because their speeds are different, that's why the amount of deviation they cause is also different. So here what will you notice now? There won't be just one single color. You will actually find so I have drawn 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and say this one more 7. Okay, now all these 7 colors will get deviated again over here, or you can say rather what? Refracted. Okay, I know it's a little untidy. But remember, they have to again bend further. Okay, so this is your glass prism. Here the white light is entering and what do we find? That so here also you need to mark the arrows, all 7 arrows. Okay, so these colors which are formed out here, now which is the violet color out of all of them? We've got the 7 colors. Which is the violet color? Remember that violet color travels the slowest, as I told you. Okay, violet color travels the slowest. So what will you find? That this will be your violet color and this will be your red color. So violet, indigo, blue, green, yellow, orange, red. Okay, that is Vibgyor. From bottom to the top is called as Vibgyor. Okay, now see, let's repeat now everything once again. This is very simple but very important from the exam point of view. So first thing, what do you mean by dispersion of light? So what is dispersion of light? The splitting of white light into its constituent colors is called as dispersion. Remember, the splitting of white light into its constituent colors. You cannot replace the word splitting with breaking of light, dividing of light, or sometimes people also write splitting of light. So you can't write that. You have to only mention what splitting of white light is called as dispersion after it is passed through a prism. Second thing, they can ask you, what do you mean by spectrum? So what is spectrum? The band of 7 colors which is formed on the screen here, like a rainbow, what you see, that is called as what? Spectrum. So I'll repeat once again, the band of 7 colors which is formed on the screen after dispersion is called as or after passing through a prism is called as a spectrum. Now if they ask you which color has got deviated maximum, so you will say what? Violet color has got maximum deviation, red has got what? Minimum deviation. But remember, red color has got maximum wavelength and violet has got what? Minimum wavelength. Okay, now okay, so that was dispersion and the spectrum. Now next thing we need to know here is that white light, this white color light, it's polychromatic in nature. Polychromatic. What do you mean by polychromatic? So poly means many and chromatic means what? Color. So in simpler words, I'll say it is a multicolor. Any multicolor light is basically called as what? Polychromatic light. So white light is a polychromatic light. So remember, this dispersion will take place only if you are passing polychromatic light. If you are passing monochromatic light, then there is no dispersion of light. Meaning, if I'll pass green light through the prism, you will not see any spectrum out here. Remember. Okay. Now, so they can ask you to draw this figure. They can ask you to define dispersion. They can ask you to define spectrum. And there is one more application-based question which they can ask you. They can ask you that when the light is entering the surface AB, which phenomenon is taking place? So when the light is entering the surface AB, that time there are two things happening. There is dispersion of light and then there is one more phenomenon. Guys, at the surface AB, there are two phenomena which is taking place. I told you one is what? Dispersion of light. And what is the second phenomenon? It is the deviation of light which is also taking place. We can say deviation or refraction, any one of them. Then which phenomenon is taking place at AC? Only deviation or refraction. We can say only deviation or refraction is taking place. So if you notice here, white light split into 7 colors. Is each color splitting further? No. Got it? So remember that what takes place on the surface AB and what takes place on the surface AC. It's very, very important. This has come twice or thrice in the boards, this kind of a question. Now the last thing is that what is the cause of dispersion? Okay, what is the cause of dispersion? So the reason for dispersion is that light travels with different speed, or you can say different colors of light travel at different speed in different mediums. So in air they were traveling at the same speed, but in glass they are traveling at different speeds, and that's why it led to dispersion. So if they ask you what is the cause of dispersion, we can remember 3 D's, that different colors of light travel at different speed in different medium. Okay, and now next thing is, this is also a very interesting question, that what can you say about the width of this? You can see what is the width of the red color, orange color, yellow, green, violet, that way. So will the width of each color be the same or no? Okay, will the width of each color of light be same or no in the spectrum? So they will be of unequal width. Okay, all the colors will be of unequal width. Which one will be of the maximum width? Guess which color will have the maximum width. So you will find that violet color will have got a maximum width, because that gets deviated the most, you can see at the end, and that's why it will be broader as compared to the other color. You may not feel so sometimes when you look at the rainbow. The reason is what, that these low colors, they are not that sensitive to your ears. Like your ear will basically, you will feel there is more of blue color altogether. Like you can easily sense blue color or yellow or the red color. Correct? So blue. Okay, there's one more thing, guys. When we talk about this Vibgyor, okay, so for simplicity, what they do now, when we say Vibgyor, henceforth we will be considering violet, indigo, blue together as blue only. Green will be green only alone, and your yellow, orange, red we will consider as red. So henceforth we might say that blue, green and red only. What would all these colors together give you? White color. So same way these also together will give you what? White color. So to keep it simple, henceforth we may discuss as only blue, green and red color, especially in the C part of the chapter, that is the... We'll finish the numericals now. So there are hardly, like as I said, there are hardly 3-4 sums only in the numericals. So, and also we are going to use only one formula in all the numericals. The formula we are going to use is C is equal to F into lambda. So you've done this formula earlier also in sound. In sound we used to write V equal to F into lambda. Okay, so out here why we write C? Because C means what? Speed of light. Okay, C is a standard symbol which is used for the speed of light. You might have read the symbol in E equal to mc squared also, Einstein's mass energy equation. F stands for what? Frequency. Okay, and then what does lambda stand for? So lambda stands for the wavelength. Now wavelength should always be in meter, SI unit. When you substitute in this formula, frequency will always be in hertz and the speed of light will be in meter per second. Okay, so let's start. We are doing right now numericals from page number 145. Okay, so these are the... Okay, we'll start with the first numerical. You can refer in your textbook or I'll read out the problem for you. Now in the first numerical, they say an electromagnetic wave has a frequency of 500 megahertz. So F is equal to 500 megahertz. 500 megahertz is what? 500 into 10 raised to 6 hertz, which rather can be written as what? 5 into 10 raised to 8 hertz. Because we remove these 2 zeros, we'll do plus 2 here. Then they have said that the wavelength of this is 60 centimeters. So again, 60 centimeter is not an SI unit. So we'll convert into SI units. It will be what? 0.6 meter. And they're asking us calculate the speed of the wave. So C is equal to F into lambda. F is how much? 5 into 10 raised to 8. What's the wavelength? 0.6. So what is 5 into 0.6? 3. So it will be 3 into 10 raised to 8 meter per second. That is the speed of light. Then name the medium through which it is traveling. So the medium through which it is traveling at this speed will be what? Air. Now some of you may have a doubt that why not vacuum? It travels with the same speed in vacuum. So remember, vacuum is not a medium. In fact, vacuum means absence of any medium. That's why you can write only air out here. Now, so the first one is a 2-star problem, not because of the level of difficulty, but that's very often they ask this kind of a problem in exam. Now next problem, they say the wavelength of X-rays. So there are X-rays whose wavelength is 0.01 angstrom. So you already discussed this unit. Now how do you convert angstrom into meter? So 0.01 into 10 raised to minus 10 meter. Now if I want to remove these digits, these 2 digits from the decimal, so we'll shift where 1, 2. When you shift on the right side, you will do minus 2 and minus 12. Sorry, minus 10. Look, I'll repeat once again. 0.01 is basically 10 raised to minus 2 and then again minus 10. So it will give you 10 raised to minus 12 meter. Now they're asking us calculate its frequency. What is its frequency? And state the assumption if any. So guys, we can use a formula C equal to F lambda, but we are not given C, so we'll have to make an assumption. What is the assumption we are going to do? So remember, it is an X-ray. So all these electromagnetic radiations, they all travel at a speed of 3 into 10 raised to 8 meter per second. So that's an assumption that let C be equal to this much. Now just solve it like a normal problem. C equal to F lambda. So 3 into 10 raised to 8 is equal to F, and what is the lambda? 10 raised to minus 12. F is equal to 3 into 10 raised to 20 Hertz. That's the answer. Okay, so that's how we found the frequency. Now, guys, there are 2 more numericals which are from the A part. Now, these are the numericals of B part. Though the numericals are same only, I don't know why they put it into A and B part. So guys, now the next sum that we are doing, as I told you, it is from the B part. So, okay, I'll read out. So these are the numericals of A part. So guys, these numericals are on page number 138. Okay, so go to page number 138. Numericals, we are doing numericals right now, and this is the numerical number 1. So they say calculate the frequency of yellow light of wavelength 550 nanometer. So yellow light has got nothing for us to do with the problem. So 550 nanometer, that's how many meter? That's 550 into 10 raised to minus 9 meter. Nano is 10 raised to minus 9. The speed of light is given as 3 into 10 raised to 8 meter per second. Again, same speed, we got say yellow color light. Calculate the frequency of the yellow light. What is the frequency? So use the formula C is equal to F lambda. So F is equal to what? C upon lambda. Now substitute. What is C? 3 into 10 raised to 8 divided by 550 into 10 raised to minus 9. Now this minus 9 will go up, so we'll get 3 into 10 raised to 8 plus 9 upon 550. What would this become? 3 into 10 raised to 17 upon 550. Now we can, it's difficult to divide 3 with 550, so what we are going to do is we will do 3000. So we will remove 3 zeros from here and becomes 10 raised to 14 divided by 550. So cancel. 5 11s are 5 60s are. What is 60 upon 11? 5.454 into 10 raised to 14, which is equal to 5.45 into 10 raised to 14. Remember, you have to correct your answer to 2 decimal place. Okay, so this is also 2-star problem, guys. Now, next problem, number 2. So the answer is wrong in the textbook. You will change the answer in your textbook. Next question is the frequency range of visible light is from 3.75. So frequency is equal to 3.75 into 10 raised to 14 hertz. And other frequency is how much? 7.5 into 10 raised to 14 hertz. These are the frequencies. They say calculate its wavelength and speed of light is given. So basically C is equal to 3 into 10 raised to 8 meter per second, and here also C is equal to what? 3 into 10 raised to 8 meter per second. So we'll calculate the wavelength here. You can calculate the wavelength here also. Got it? So I think you can do it on your own. So I'm not doing this part of the problem. You can try on your own, right? You have to just use the same formula, C equal to F lambda. Calculation may be a little tough, but you must try it yourself. Okay. Next, now, so these are the numericals which we've covered from A part as well as from the B part. Now there are no numericals in the C part. Okay, C part is only about it's only about theory, and that too there is only one concept actually. There is a concept which is called as scattering of light. Okay, scattering of light. So there is this concept scattering of light. You need to understand that concept, and then there are few 5-6 give reasons are there which are all based on the same logic. So if you learn one or two properly after you understand the concept, it will be easy for you to do the B part, C part. And again, it is only actually hardly two sides only. Let's see now what is scattering of light. So first, scattering of light means what? What do you mean by scattering of light? Scattering of light means it is the absorption of light and then again re-emission of light. So the light will get absorbed when it falls on some particles and then they will again re-emit. So that process of absorption and re-emission of light is called as a scattering of light. Now the scattering of light basically happens whenever the light will fall on some particles. Like you might have seen, sometime you might be able to see sunlight, like when it is coming, especially early in the morning when it is coming through between the leaves, you can see the beam of light, or you can see a beam of light right in front of your car in the dark. Like when you're going on highways, you can see those dust particles. When the dust particles are moving, you can see that like a beam of light out there, or even when a torch is put on in the night. So now when does the scattering of light takes place? It will happen when the size of the particles. So whenever the size of the particles, when I say particles, what do I mean? They could be dust particles, it could be air molecules, water vapor present, water droplets present, whatever. So henceforth I'll be noting all of them as what? Particles. So if the size of the particles is less than the wavelength of the light, then the scattering of light takes place. Okay, now we have learned that, so if you remember, like we had already learned that violet color is the color which travels the slowest and red color is the color which travels the fastest. Now the wavelength of violet color is 4000 angstrom. Wavelength of red color is 8000 angstrom. As I told you earlier also, it's easier to remember their wavelengths because the wavelength of red is 2 times that of the violet color. So from this, what can we say? We can say that wavelength of red color is 2 times the wavelength of the violet color. Okay. Now next thing, and the most important thing in the C part, is that whenever light is falling on these particles, as I told you, they will all get scattered. So what I meant is, let's say out here, I'm just trying an enlarged view. So say out here there is one particle and the white light is started from here and it strikes on this particle, say. So I'm saying this is the white light. Now this white light, now it will get further scattered. Okay, there may be different colors that you see out. So there could be violet color, there could be red color, anything. Now what will you notice is that you will find more of the violet color and lesser of red color. Right now I'm only talking about violet and red to keep it simple. I'm not writing all 7 colors. So whenever the white light, when it drops, when it strikes on these particles, it will scatter the light. But what did we notice? That violet color was scattered more as compared to the red color. So the concept is what, they say that the intensity of scattering, how much of light will get scattered, it depends upon the wavelength of the light. And how does it depend upon the wavelength? It is inversely proportional to the fourth power of wavelength. Okay, and this theory was put forward by Sir Rayleigh. That's why it is also in the textbook they have given, I think they have not given the full name, they just given the scientist Rayleigh. So intensity is inversely proportional to the fourth power of wavelength. Now tell me, which color gets scattered more? Whether violet will get more scattered or red color? So we'll find that the intensity of scattering of violet color is more compared to the scattering of red color. Reason is what? Because the wavelength of violet color is less compared to the wavelength of red color, and that's why this is happening. So the scattering of violet is more than that of red. Now I'll give you one example. Look at this example. We know that intensity is inversely proportional to lambda raised to 4. So if the wavelength is doubled, what's the effect on the intensity of scattering? What is 2 raised to 4? 16. So it becomes 1 upon 16. But if the wavelength was made half, what will happen to the intensity of scattering? I made reciprocal here, so even this has to become reciprocal. It will become what? 16 times. So here it becomes 1/16, but here it will become what? 16 times. That's the difference. So now guys, out here, so what do we conclude now? It means you can see the wavelength of violet is half of red. So if wavelength becomes half, intensity becomes 16 times. It means the intensity of scattering of violet is 16 times the intensity of scattering of red color. So violet gets 16 times more scattered as compared to red color. Got it? See, what does this thing logically means? I'll just give you an example. Let's say out here we've got a beam of light. Say I'm talking about only violet or blue color. So, and here we've got all the dust particles. I'm just marking randomly something. So say these are the dust particles out here. Now what will happen when light will enter these dust particles? Look, when light enters these dust particles, what will happen? So the moment it starts entering the dust particle, you will find what, that this blue color will start getting what? Scattered. The blue color out here has got scattered and it will not be able to go farther. But if you have a red color light, okay, you will notice what, that a red color light can go more deeper because it gets less scattered as compared to the other colors. Clear? That's why you must have seen there are red color laser lights. So if you've seen red color laser light now, a lot of people use it in the, they use it for fun to harass other people. Sometimes people, when they are walking, somebody, they point out that laser light near their feet or in somebody's house or on their face and all. So the reason why is it difficult to track it, because you can see the origin point, the point from where the laser lights have started, and you can only see the end point where the laser light stops, meaning on the screen. You are not able to see the whole beam of light. Why not? Because it does not get scattered. But if you try to do the same thing with a torch, if you try to focus on somebody's face or somewhere, they'll slap you hard because they can see the scattering of that white light easily. Because it had many colors like violet, indigo, blue, which all get scattered very, very easily and to a greater extent. Okay, so now, one more thing. So we had discussed earlier that when the size of the particles is lesser than wavelength, it gets scattered. Now what if the size of the particles is greater than the wavelength of all the colors of light? What will happen in this case? In this case, all the colors of light will get scattered equally. All the colors of light will get scattered equally. Clear? So, okay, and so now we'll start with some few give reasons. Now to start with these give reasons, look, we had learned what earlier, that white light is basically what? VIBGYOR, right? But now instead of writing VIBGYOR out here, we will consider it to be what, just, sorry, I write out here, white is equal to blue plus green and plus red. These three colors only as a major color. So if you're in, also if you know that these are actually the primary colors, blue, green and red. See, there is this Venn diagram. Look, so all those who are art students, they probably would know the primary colors well. Okay, you write red, blue and yellow, right? Primary colors in, but those are the artificial primary colors. Right now here we are talking about which colors, colors in the form of light, or they are called as spectral colors. So in spectral colors, say how to remember this now. Look here, rich girls behave mad yet called wonderful. Okay, so what does this mean? If you mix up red, blue, green, you get which color? White. If I mix up red and green, you will get yellow, correct? And if you mix up blue and yellow, you will get white color. M stands for magenta color and C stands for cyan or cyan, they say. Okay, so here's now see, I'll tell you the application. So first application, let's say out here, this is the earth. Okay, earth is surrounded with what? Layers of air, that is the atmosphere. So say here we've got the atmosphere. Now out here at some far distance here there is sun. I'm drawing sun as small just because at a farther distance. Now when the light ray will start from here, from the sun, okay, let's say the light ray started from here, from the sun, it will start traveling through this atmosphere. So here there is vacuum, right, between sun and earth, so there is no scattering of light because there are no particles to scatter it. But the moment it starts entering the atmosphere at a higher altitudes, now what do we have? We have smaller dust particles, air molecules, so they all will scatter the light, correct? Which color gets scattered the most now? Tell me here. The blue color is going to get scattered the most, correct? Because intensity is inversely proportional to wavelength. As I told you, we are considering violet, indigo, blue as blue only right now. So we say it will appear blue color only. So the color of the sky would be what? Blue when you are looking from the earth at the sky. If you are looking also from outside, like if you are looking from some other outside, like from space towards the surface, then also it will appear what? Blue only, the color. Okay. Now second thing, what about the person who's standing on the earth? When the light reaches from the sun to him out here, then what will happen? Will this also appear? What color will it appear to him? So when he's looking at the sun to him will appear to be of which color? Red color. Now why red color? Because when the light is coming from sun to the earth over here, out of white color you have already removed blue color, meaning blue got scattered or filtered. So what is left out now? Only red color. So see, actually from white, when you remove blue color, you will be left with these two colors. But red and green when mixed together, it gives you more or less like a red or a yellow shade you can see. So a couple of days back you must have seen the color of the sunlight which you were getting, it was yellow or orange, that type of a color. So why did that happen? Because at that time the position and the particles and all was such that blue was getting scattered, so only red could reach you. So you must have definitely seen a lot of people had made their WhatsApp status also about this scattering of light. Okay, so these are the give reasons, guys. One more give reason is they can ask you that why do clouds, okay, one more thing, let's say if there was no atmosphere only over here, say let's say Earth did not have atmosphere and we have still existed, so what will happen then? So if there was no atmosphere, you know what will happen? The light ray which starts from the sun, it'll keep moving, moving and then just out. So there will be no scattering of light, so there will be no color only of the sky. So if there was no atmosphere on the Earth, then the color of our sky would have been what? Black color. That's what happens on Moon. So Moon has got no atmosphere, hence there is no scattering of light, and that's why everything appears what over there? I mean the sky would be what over there? Black. Okay. Then next thing is about the clouds. So okay guys, so now next thing is about the clouds, that why do clouds appear white? Now guys, see, as we know that clouds are made up of what? They are made up of much bigger particles as compared to dust particles. Like there is the size of the particle is greater than the wavelength of all the colors of light. And when the size is greater than wavelength of all the colors of light, what happen? All the colors will get scattered equally. So they all will again recombine to form which color? White color. Okay. And guys, now also explain, they can also ask you explain white color of sky at noon. So usually in the afternoon, if you look up, if you get a chance to look up in the afternoon, you will find that the color of the sky is white. Now why does this happen? Because at noon the sun is overhead, it's up above us. So when the light is coming from there, it is traveling a smaller or a shorter distance. Correct? And also it is falling what? Normally. And that's why there is less scattering of light, and hence it will appear to be what? White color. Guys, notice over here the scattering of light is more over here, but here the scattering of light is less. But that's why the color of the sky will be white. And the last, guys, the last give reason is which color is always used for a danger signal? You must have noticed we always use what? Red color. Now why do we use red color only? We use red color because it has a higher wavelength, so it can easily penetrate a longer distance. So like just for example, let's say you have a friend who's holding a red color laser light or red color torch and a blue color or a violet color torch in his hand, correct? Or a white color also you can assume. Let's say we are standing at a very far distance, say some half a kilometer away. Now you start walking towards him. You know, while you start walking towards him, which light will you be able to see first? You will be able to see the red color light first. Why red color light? Because when red color light is when it is traveling from him towards you, there is less scattering of it. And since it is getting less scattered, and that's why it will be able to travel more distance. So you will be able to see red color light first, and then you will see the violet color. That's the reason we use red color for danger. So if you've seen the tail lights of the car or the brake lights of the cars, they are red in color. The signals are red in color to stop. Okay. So yeah, so that is all. These are the give reasons that you have in this part of the chapter. There is one more give reason is that when the white light or when the white light is passing through a smoke, or they can ask you like this is the question number 13 in your textbook, that why the smoke from a fire looks white. So the reason is when the white light enters it, what will happen? It's something like the clouds only. All the colors of light get scattered equally, and hence it will appear white. So guys, we have done with this. B part, guys, I am not recording anything about the B part. It's all more about like the mugging up and that only, like what are the properties and what are its uses, and also there is actually hardly any logic only. What I've done is I've made some notes like this. Okay, so I've made some notes like this. I'll send you a PDF file. You can refer to this once. You have to just learn what are the wavelengths, what are its uses and all those. So look, this is how I've made it. Okay, though most of the points are covered, but I will still advise you that you learn from the textbook first. Okay, now in this also now, these two radiations are explained in full detail in your textbook. That is UV and infrared. Okay, other radiations are not explained in detail. They are not that important. They have hardly given a paragraph or like some few lines about them. And this is about the scattering of light. So whatever, even if you can just learn these two sides what I've written, or you learn from textbook. So I've just covered up all the points. Just one more very important thing is that in all the scattering of light questions, remember, for any give reason, you should always write this property when you're explaining it, that the intensity of scattering is inversely proportional to fourth power. So every give reason must be written with this. You must write this. When I say everything, it means wherever there is a use of scattering of light. Not that in calorimetry also you like, because intensity is inversely proportional to fourth power of wavelength. Okay, done guys.